The villagers thought she was dead, until Peace walked in covered in blood. And from the way the blood stained her clothes, everybody knew one thing: it wasn't hers. She stood at the entrance of the village bar, breathing like she had been running for hours. Her eyes were wide, her hands shaking, and her legs looked like they could give up any moment. The whole place went quiet. No talking. No laughter. Even the crickets outside went silent. Peace.
Peace.
Joy whispered, her voice small, like she was afraid to call her name too loud. Peace didn't answer. She just looked around slowly, like her spirit was still somewhere inside the dark forest. Then, with a cracked voice, she managed to say,
"They are coming!
They are coming." Chairs fell.
David!
People shouted. Some prayed. Some backed away from her like she was carrying a curse. But Peace didn't move an inch. She just stared at the burning lantern, her face empty, but her eyes full of fear, the kind that comes from seeing something not meant for human eyes. Then, from outside the compound, something growled. Deep. Heavy. Not from this world. Whatever took Peace didn't finish the job. Now it wanted the whole village. And Peace? She was no longer the same girl who disappeared 3 nights ago. 3 days before all this happened, the village of Akachi was normal. Children ran between the mud houses, laughing and kicking old footballs made from plastic bags and rope. Women sat under the mango trees, peeling cassava and gossiping about whose daughter would marry the carpenter's son. Men worked in the blacksmith shop or farmed the land behind the village. Life was simple. Life was good. Peace was the kind of girl everyone loved. She was 17, tall and strong, with a smile that could light up the darkest room. She helped her mother sell palm oil at the market. She fetched water from the stream every morning. She sang songs while she worked. The kind of girl who made you feel safe just by being around. Her sister Joy was different. Joy was younger, only 14, and she was quieter. She followed Peace everywhere like a shadow. Where Peace went, Joy went. If Peace laughed, Joy smiled. If Peace was worried, Joy couldn't sleep. There was also Victory, the blacksmith. He was 25, muscular, with burned scars on his arms from working with hot metal all day. He had loved Peace since they were children, but he never said it out loud. Everyone knew it anyway. He would watch her walk past his workshop and forget to hammer the iron in his hands. The village elder was called Papa Okon. He was 70 years old, maybe older. Nobody really knew. His hair was completely white and his back was bent from age, but his mind was sharp like a blade. He knew every story, every legend, every warning passed down from their ancestors. And he knew the forest was not a place for games. The forest surrounded Akachi on 3 sides. Thick. Dark. Old. The kind of forest where sounds traveled wrong and shadows moved on their own. The elders always said the same thing: never go into the forest after sunset. Never disrespect the spirits. Never ignore the signs. But young people don't always listen. If you're enjoying this story so far, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. You don't want to miss what happens next. Trust me. It started 3 nights before Peace came back. There was a festival in the village. People were dancing. Drums were pounding. Palm wine was flowing. Everyone was happy. The air smelled like roasted goat and spices. Peace and Joy were dancing near the fire with the other young girls. Their mother was clapping and ululating. Victory was watching from the edge of the crowd, smiling whenever Peace spun around. Then a boy named Samuel came running from the forest edge. He was breathing hard, his eyes wide. "I saw it," he shouted. "I saw the masquerade. The one from the stories." People stopped dancing. The drums went quiet. Papa Okon stood up slowly from his wooden chair. "What did you see, boy?" Samuel pointed toward the forest. A figure. Tall. Wearing white cloth that moved even when there was no wind. It was standing between the trees, watching us. Some people laughed nervously. Others made the sign of protection with their hands. "You've been drinking too much palm wine," someone said. But Papa Ocone didn't laugh. He looked at the forest, his face serious. "Everyone stay away from the forest tonight. Do you hear me? Stay away." Most people nodded and went back to dancing. But Peace saw something in Papa Ocone's eyes. Fear. Real fear. And Papa Ocone was not a man who scared easily. Later that night, after the festival ended, Peace couldn't sleep. She kept thinking about what Samuel had seen. She looked out of her window at the forest. The moon was full and bright, but the forest stayed dark, like it was swallowing the light. "Are you awake?" Joy whispered from the mat next to hers. "Yes," Peace said. "Do you think Samuel really saw something?" Peace didn't answer right away. Then she said, "I don't know." But Papa Ocone believed him. Joy was quiet for a moment. "I'm scared, Peace." "Don't be. Nothing will happen. Go to sleep." But Peace was wrong. Something did happen. The next morning, Peace woke up before dawn like she always did. She took 2 clay pots and walked to the stream to fetch water. The stream was about 10 minutes from the village, down a narrow path that went close to the forest edge. The morning was cold and gray. Mist hung in the air like smoke. Peace walked quickly, singing a song under her breath to keep herself company. When she reached the stream, she filled her pots and balanced one on her head. That's when she heard it. A sound. Like someone crying. Soft. Coming from inside the forest. Peace froze. Her heart started beating faster. "Hello?" she called out. The crying continued. It sounded like a child. A little girl, maybe. Peace knew she shouldn't go into the forest. She knew what Papa Ocone had said. But the crying sounded so sad, so desperate. What if someone was hurt? What if a child had gotten lost? She put down her water pots and took a step toward the trees. "Hello? Are you okay?" The crying got louder, like it was calling her closer. Peace took another step. Then another. The forest swallowed her whole. Back in the village, Joy woke up and saw that Peace's sleeping mat was empty. She wasn't worried at first. Peace always went to fetch water early. But when an hour passed and Peace didn't come back, Joy started to feel sick in her stomach. "Mama, Peace isn't back yet," Joy said. Their mother frowned. "She probably stopped to talk to someone. You know how your sister is. Always talking." But another hour passed. Then another. By midday, everyone was looking for Peace. Victory organized the search. He gathered 20 men with machetes and torches. They searched the stream first. They found Peace's water pot sitting by the bank, still full. But no Peace. "She went into the forest," Samuel said quietly. "Look. Footprints." Sure enough, there were footprints in the mud leading into the trees. Small. Barefoot. Peace's footprints. Victory's face went hard. "We're going in." Papa Ocone grabbed his arm. "No. Not now. It's almost dark." "I don't care. She's in there. And if you go in now, you'll be in there too. Forever. Wait until morning. We'll search at first light with proper protection." Victory wanted to argue, but he saw the look in Papa Ocone's eyes. He saw the way the other men were backing away from the forest, fear on their faces. They waited. That night, nobody slept. Joy cried until her eyes were swollen. Their mother sat outside their house, praying and rocking back and forth. Victory sat by his workshop, sharpening his machete over and over, the sound of metal on stone cutting through the silence. At dawn, 30 men entered the forest. They called Peace's name. They followed her footprints. But after 100 meters, the footprints just stopped. Like Peace had vanished into thin air. They searched for hours. They found nothing. No torn clothes. No blood. No signs of struggle. Just silence and shadows and trees that seemed to watch them. On the second day, they searched again. Same result. Nothing. On the third day, most people gave up. They held a small ceremony for Peace. Her mother wailed and tore her clothes. Joy sat silent, staring at nothing. Victory didn't come. He couldn't accept that Peace was gone. Papa Okon stood before the village and said, "The forest has taken her. We must accept this. We must move on." But nobody felt like moving on. The whole village felt wrong now. Heavier. Darker. And then, on the third night, Peace came back. Comment below if you think Peace came back alone, or if something came back with her. Let's see your theories. It was around 8 in the evening. Most people were in the village bar, a small wooden building with benches and a kerosene lantern hanging from the ceiling. They were trying to drink away their sadness, trying to forget that one of their own was gone. That's when the door opened. Peace stood there, covered in blood from head to toe. Her dress was torn. Her hair was wild and tangled with leaves. Her feet were bare and cut up. But she was standing. She was breathing. She was alive. For a moment, nobody moved. Nobody spoke. They all just stared, like they were seeing a ghost. Then Joy screamed and ran toward her sister. "Peace! Peace, you're alive!" But Victory grabbed Joy and pulled her back. "Wait," he said quietly. Something was wrong. Everyone felt it. Peace wasn't looking at them like she knew them. Her eyes were empty, like she was seeing through them instead of at them. She was breathing too fast, her chest rising and falling like she had been running for days. And that blood. So much blood. It covered her arms, her chest, her face. But there were no wounds on her body. The blood wasn't hers. "Peace," their mother whispered, taking a step forward. "My daughter, what happened to you?" Peace opened her mouth. Closed it. Opened it again. When she finally spoke, her voice sounded broken, like something inside her throat was damaged. "They are coming." "Who's coming?" Victory demanded. "Peace, who did this to you?" But Peace just shook her head slowly, her eyes filling with tears. She pointed behind her, toward the darkness outside. "They're coming for all of us." That's when they heard it. The growl. Deep and rumbling, like thunder trapped in an animal's throat. It came from somewhere outside the compound, from the direction of the forest. Every dog in the village started barking at once. Then, just as suddenly, they all went silent. Not a single sound. The lantern inside the bar flickered. Once. Twice. The flame turned blue for just a second. "Lock the doors," Papa Okon said firmly. "Lock them now." People scrambled. Someone grabbed Peace and pulled her inside. Victory slammed the wooden door shut and pushed a bench against it. The women gathered the children in the center of the room. The men grabbed whatever they could use as weapons, bottles, chairs, farming tools. "What did you see out there, Peace?" Papa Okon asked. His voice was calm, but his hands were shaking. "What happened in the forest?" Peace was sitting on the floor now, hugging her knees. Joy sat next to her, holding her hand. Peace's whole body was trembling. "I heard crying," Peace said quietly. "A child crying. I went to help. I walked into the forest and the crying led me deeper and deeper." Then it stopped. Everything stopped. No birds. No insects. Nothing. What happened next? Victory asked, kneeling in front of her. I tried to go back, but I couldn't find the path. Every direction looked the same. I walked for hours. Then the sun went down, and I was alone in the dark. Peace's voice cracked. Tears ran down her face, making clean lines through the dried blood. That's when I saw them. Saw who? Papa Ocone pressed. Peace looked up at him, and in her eyes was a terror so raw, so deep, that several people stepped back. The ones who live between the trees, she whispered. The forgotten spirits. The ones who died angry. The room went cold. Everyone knew the stories. Every child in the village grew up hearing about the spirits in the forest. The people who had died violently or were buried without proper rites. The ones who wandered the darkness, hungry and angry, looking for the living to drag back with them. How did you escape? Victory asked. I didn't, Peace said. They let me go. They wanted me to come back here. They wanted me to bring them something. Bring them what? Peace looked around the room at all the faces staring at her. Friends. Family. Neighbors. People she had known her whole life. Fear, she said. They feed on fear. And now that I've brought it back with me, they're coming to feast. Outside, the growling started again. Closer this time. Something was moving around the building. Heavy footsteps. More than one set. If you're not subscribed yet, subscribe now. You need to see how this ends. And hit that like button to help this story reach more people. Now back to the story. The lantern went out completely. The bar was plunged into darkness. Someone screamed. Children started crying. Victory lit a match, and in that brief light, everyone saw something that made their blood freeze. Peace's shadow on the wall behind her. It wasn't moving with her body. It was standing perfectly still, even though Peace was trembling and rocking back and forth. The match went out. We need to get out of here, someone yelled. And go where? Victory shot back. It's dark outside. We're surrounded. He's right, Papa Ocone said. We stay here until dawn. We stay together. Another lantern was lit, and the room glowed orange again. But the light felt weaker now, like the darkness was pushing back against it. Tell us everything, Papa Ocone said to Peace. Every detail. We need to know what we're dealing with. Peace took a shaking breath and continued. When night fell in the forest, I found a small clearing. I tried to make a fire, but the wood wouldn't burn. I sat there in the dark, and that's when I heard footsteps. Circling me. I couldn't see anything, but I knew something was there. Many things. Joy squeezed Peace's hand tighter. Then I saw lights. Not fire. Cold lights, like the moon, but floating in the air. They came closer and closer, and under each light was a face. Gray faces. Hollow eyes. Mouths that moved wrong. They surrounded me. What did they want? Someone asked. They talked to each other in a language I couldn't understand. They pointed at me. Touched my hair. Pulled at my clothes. I tried to scream, but no sound came out. It was like they had stolen my voice. Peace's breathing got faster. Then the tallest one spoke in our language. Its voice sounded like two rocks scraping together. It said, "You came into our home uninvited. Now you must pay the price." What price? Victory asked, though he wasn't sure he wanted to know. I begged them to let me go. I said I was sorry. I said I didn't know. But they just laughed. It was the worst sound I've ever heard. Like children laughing, but wrong. Broken. Peace wiped her eyes, smearing more blood across her face. The tall one said, "We'll let you return. But you'll bring us what we need. Fear. Fresh fear. Lead us to your village, and when we feast, we might let you keep your soul." The room was dead silent except for the sound of breathing and the soft crying of children. "I didn't want to," Peace said desperately. "I swear I didn't want to. But they put something inside me. I can feel it in my chest, cold and heavy. It's like a hook pulling me. They're using me to find the way." "Where did the blood come from?" their mother asked quietly. Peace looked down at her stained clothes. "There was something in the forest. An animal, I think. Maybe a deer. The spirits killed it in front of me. They bathed me in its blood. They said it was a mark. So the others would know I belong to them now." Outside, something scratched at the walls of the bar. Long, slow scratches, like nails dragging across wood. One side of the building, then another, then another. They were being circled. "How do we stop them?" Victory demanded, looking at Papa Okon. The old man looked older than ever. His face was gray with worry. "These spirits, they're not like the ones we make offerings to. These are the angry dead. The forgotten ones. They don't want respect or food. They want revenge on the living for being forgotten. There has to be something we can do," Victory insisted. Papa Okon thought for a long moment. Then he said, "There might be a way. But it's dangerous. It requires a sacrifice." "What kind of sacrifice?" "The spirits came because Peace entered their territory. She broke the boundary. To restore balance, someone must offer themselves willingly. Not to die, but to serve as a bridge. To negotiate." "No," Joy said immediately. "No one's offering themselves to those things. If we don't," Papa Okon said grimly, "they'll take us all anyway. At least this way, there's a chance." "I'll do it," Peace said suddenly. Everyone looked at her. "This is my fault. I went into the forest. I should be the one to fix it." "No!" Joy cried, grabbing her sister. "You just came back. I'm not losing you again." "She can't do it," Papa Okon said. "She's already marked. They already have a hold on her. It has to be someone they haven't touched." Victory stood up. "Then I'll go." Their mother gasped. Joy shook her head. But Victory's face was set with determination. "I'm strong. I'm not afraid. Anne." He looked at Peace. "I'm not letting these things take her again." Before anyone could argue, something hit the door. Hard. The wood cracked. Everyone screamed and backed away. Another hit. The bench blocking the door slid a few inches. "They're breaking in," someone yelled. "We have to do the ritual now." Papa Okon shouted over the chaos. "Victory, come here." Papa Okon pulled a small leather pouch from his pocket. He'd been carrying it his whole life, just as his father had before him. It contained sacred chalk, herbs, and ground bones from the village ancestors. "Kneel," Papa Okon ordered. Victory knelt. The door shook again. Another crack appeared in the wood. Papa Okon drew symbols on Victory's forehead with the white chalk. He muttered prayers in the old language, words that even he barely understood anymore. He rubbed herbs on Victory's chest and back. "You will go outside," Papa Okon said. "You will face them directly. You will offer yourself as a speaker for the village. Tell them we mean no disrespect. Tell them we'll make offerings at the forest edge every new moon. Tell them we'll never enter their territory again. If they accept, they'll release Peace and leave us alone. And if they don't accept?" Victory asked. Papa Okon didn't answer. He didn't need to. The door burst open. A blast of cold air rushed in, so cold it made people's breath visible even though it was a warm night. The lantern flame bent sideways, almost going out. In the doorway, there was nothing. Just darkness. But it was a darkness that moved, that breathed, that watched. Victory stood up. His legs wanted to shake, but he forced them still. He picked up a torch from the wall and walked toward the door. Victory, don't, Peace pleaded. He looked back at her and smiled. It was a sad smile. Stay safe, Peace. Take care of your sister. Then he stepped outside into the dark. Make sure you like this video and share it with someone who loves scary stories. We're almost at the end, and trust me, you don't want to miss what happens next. Everyone rushed to the windows to watch. Through the gaps in the wooden walls, they could see Victory standing in the compound, his torch held high. The orange light pushed back the darkness a little, making a small circle of safety around him. At first, nothing happened. Victory stood there, breathing steady, waiting. Then they came. They emerged from the shadows at the edge of the compound. Tall figures, impossibly thin, with skin that looked gray and wet. Their eyes glowed with that cold light Peace had described. There were 6 of them, maybe 7. It was hard to count because they didn't move like normal things. They flickered in and out, like bad dreams made solid. The tallest one moved forward. Its face was wrong. The mouth too wide. Too many teeth. Eyes that were just black holes. Victory stood his ground. I speak for the village of Akachi, he said, his voice strong despite his fear. We did not mean disrespect. We did not know one of our own had crossed into your territory. We apologize. The spirit tilted its head. The movement was too fast, too sharp. Not human. Apologies, it said in that grinding rock voice. Apologies mean nothing to the forgotten. We have been here for 100 years. 200. Some of us longer. And not once has your village remembered us. Not once has anyone poured libation for us. Not once has anyone called our names. We didn't know, Victory said. Ignorance is not innocence, another spirit hissed. This one was shorter, with what looked like branches growing out of its back. You build your houses on the edge of our home. You take wood from our trees. You drink from our streams. You take and take and take, and you give nothing back. Then tell us what you want, Victory said. Tell us how to make this right. The spirits moved closer. Victory's torch flickered. Inside the bar, people were praying, holding each other, crying quietly. The tall spirit leaned down until its face was level with Victory's. This close, Victory could see that its skin wasn't skin at all. It was something else. Something that had once been human but had been twisted by death and time and anger. We want to be remembered, it whispered. We want to matter again. Then we'll remember you, Victory promised. We'll build a shrine at the forest edge. We'll pour libation every new moon. We'll teach our children your story. We'll make sure you're never forgotten again. The spirits looked at each other. They seemed to be communicating without words. The air felt thick, heavy with their decision. Finally, the tall spirit straightened up. You speak with a true heart, it said. We feel no lie in your words. Victory let out a breath he didn't know he was holding. But, the spirit continued, words are wind. Promises break like dry bones. We need more than words. What more can I give? The spirit's terrible mouth stretched into something like a smile. The marked one. The girl. She carries our mark. She belongs to us now. Give her to us, and the rest of your village goes free. Inside the bar, Peace stood up. No. I'll go. I'll go willingly. Peace, stop, Joy grabbed her arm. I have to. They want me, not the village. But Papa Okon shook his head. Wait. Look at Victory. He's still talking. Outside, Victory said firmly, no. You can't have her. The spirits hissed. The one with branches on its back lunged forward, but the tall one held up a hand, stopping it. Then what do you offer? The tall spirit asked. Me, Victory said. I offer myself instead. Not to die. But to serve as the keeper of your shrine. I'll live at the forest edge. I'll maintain the offerings. I'll make sure the village never forgets you. I'll be the bridge between the living and the dead. My life, in service to you, in exchange for peace's freedom and the village's safety. The spirits went still. Even the cold wind stopped blowing. A living servant, the tall spirit mused. Interesting. It has been many years since we had one of those. I'll do it willingly, Victory pressed. I'll serve with respect. I won't fight you. I won't run. I'll accept my role. Another long silence. Then the tall spirit nodded slowly. Very well. We accept your offer. You will build the shrine. You will live between worlds. You will remember us when others forget. And in return, we release the marked one and spare your village. The spirit raised one long arm and pointed at the bar. Everyone inside felt a sudden coldness in their chests, then it was gone, like something had been pulled out of them. Peace gasped. The heavy feeling in her chest, the hook that had been pulling her, it vanished. She felt lighter. Free. It's done, Papa Okon whispered. Outside, the spirits were already fading back into the darkness. The tall one looked at Victory one last time. Build the shrine by the next new moon. If you fail, we return. And next time, we take everyone. Then they were gone. The cold air lifted. The normal night sounds returned. Crickets. Wind. An owl somewhere far away. Victory stood alone in the compound, still holding his torch. He looked tired. Older somehow. The door to the bar opened and everyone rushed out. Peace ran to Victory and threw her arms around him. Why did you do that? She cried. Why did you sacrifice yourself for me? Victory hugged her back. Because that's what you do for people you love. Joy hugged them both. Their mother came and blessed Victory with prayers. Other villagers touched his shoulders, thanked him, called him a hero. But Victory knew the truth. He wasn't a hero. He was scared. He was going to spend the rest of his life living at the edge of the forest, serving spirits that could kill him with a thought. He was going to be alone, separated from his family, his friends, the life he knew. But Peace was safe. The village was safe. And sometimes, that had to be enough. The next morning, the whole village came together to build the shrine. They worked fast, cutting wood, shaping stones, weaving palm fronds for the roof. They built it exactly at the point where the forest began, where the trees got thick and the sunlight stopped reaching the ground. Papa Okon carved the names of the spirits into wooden posts. Names that had been forgotten for generations. Names that hurt to speak because they carried so much pain. When the shrine was finished, they made the first offering. Palm wine, cola nuts, roasted yam, cloth, cowrie shells. They poured libation and spoke the names of the dead. They asked for forgiveness. They asked for peace. And deep in the forest, something listened. Something accepted. Victory moved his few belongings to a small hut they built next to the shrine. He would live there now, maintaining the offerings, keeping the spirits satisfied. Once a week, Peace would visit him, bringing food and company. Sometimes Joy came too. They would sit together and talk about normal things, trying to pretend everything was like it used to be. But they all knew it wasn't. Peace healed physically. The cuts on her feet closed. The blood washed away. But the things she saw in the forest stayed in her dreams. Some nights she would wake up screaming, seeing those gray faces and cold lights. Joy would hold her until the fear passed. The village learned to respect the boundary. Children were warned never to cross into the forest. Elders told the story of peace and victory to anyone who would listen, making sure the lesson was never forgotten. Every new moon, like clockwork, victory made the offerings. And every new moon, the spirits accepted them. An unspoken agreement between the living and the dead. Life went back to normal, mostly. People worked. Children played. Women gossiped. Men farmed. But there was a new awareness now. A respect for the things that lived in the shadows. A reminder that some boundaries exist for a reason. Peace eventually married a trader from a nearby village. She had children. She grew older. But she never forgot what happened in the forest. She never forgot the price that was paid for her mistake. And sometimes, late at night, when the moon was hidden and the world was dark, she would look toward the forest and wonder if those spirits were still watching. Still waiting. Still hungry. Before we end this story, don't forget to leave a comment and tell us what you would have done if you were in Peace's situation. Would you have entered the forest? Would you have accepted the spirit's first offer? Let us know below. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do it now. We have more African folklore stories coming that will keep you up at night. Victory lived the rest of his life at that shrine. He never married. He never left. He grew old there, his hair turning white, his body becoming bent like Papa Okone's. But he never complained. He never regretted his choice. When he finally died, 30 years after that terrible night, something strange happened. His body was found sitting peacefully next to the shrine, a small smile on his face. And on the wooden posts where the spirits' names were carved, a new name appeared. Victory. The village buried him with full honors. They made offerings at his grave. They told his story to their children and their children's children. And the spirits? They kept their word. They never attacked the village again. The forest remained a place of shadows and mystery, but it was no longer a place of terror. As long as the offerings continued, as long as the names were remembered, the boundary held. Because that's how it works in the old ways. Respect for respect. Memory for mercy. Fear for peace. In our village, the forest remembers those who disrespect it. And sometimes, when you're brave enough to face the darkness, when you're willing to pay the price, the forest remembers that too. Peace didn't come back from those trees the same person. None of them did. But they came back. They survived. They learned. And in the end, that's all anyone can ask for. To survive the night. To see the dawn. To remember the price of forgetting. The spirits in the forest are still there. They're always there. Watching. Waiting. Listening for their names to be called. And as long as people remember, as long as people respect the boundary, they stay in their world, and we stay in ours. But forget, even once, and the darkness comes calling. Just like it called for peace. Just like it will call for anyone who thinks the old ways don't matter anymore. This is the story the elders tell. This is the warning they give. This is why, even now, even in modern times, the people of Akachi pour libation at the forest edge every new moon. Because some promises must never be broken. Some boundaries must never be crossed. And some spirits must never, ever be forgotten. If this story gave you chills, smash that like button and share it with your friends. Drop a comment telling us about your own experiences with African folklore or spirits. Have you ever felt like something was watching you from the forest? Have you ever heard sounds you couldn't explain? Tell us your stories. We read every comment. And remember to subscribe and hit that notification bell. We drop new African folklore horror stories every week, and trust me, they only get scarier from here. Until next time, stay safe. Respect the boundaries. And never, ever forget the spirits. Because they certainly haven't forgotten about you.